a recent graduate who's still trying to navigate the job space, I've received the confidence boost I need from the Ready for Work Career Accelerator. I highly recommend Ready for Work Career Accelerator to individuals who are still trying to find their feet in the job space.
Ready for Work workshop has been a good experience, very insightful. I've learned a lot of things I actually didn't know initially.
But if all the 100% through national service. It takes the rest about 10 years to secure permanent employment, according to the Institute of Statistics, Social and Economic Research. Here's one. Only about 8,638 out of the 86,478 national service personnel deployed in 2020-21 service year were employed right after their national service. It may take up to 10 years for the remaining 7,830 to secure permanent employment, ISSER says. On a continental level,
Hello.
Hi, I can see you.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Hello.
I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Wow. Hello. Yeah, I can see you. My camera is on, so I'm wondering how. Um,
Literally the entire thing.
Not coming from me.
Hello. Yeah, I can see you. My camera is on, so I'm wondering how.
Would you want to rejoin?
Yeah, let me try that again.
Would you want to rejoin?
Yeah, let me try that again.
There you are. Can you hear me? You're muted.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's much better now.
Wonderful. How's it going?
We are coping by God's grace. How about you?
I'm all right.
Yeah,
I
you're
spoke.
doing really well.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I spoke to your husband the other day.
Yeah, I was watching the whole interview. It was quite interesting. Oh,
You
you
didn't tell
spoke
me.
about Tulsa King.
Hello.
Hello. I enjoyed the part where you spoke about Tulsa King.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, Sylvester did a good one there.
Yeah, he did a good job. But you didn't tell me that your husband is part of my speakers.
Oh, don't worry. It's we are in the fiancé stage, so you come for the wedding. It's going
Okay.
to. I think we
Nice.
have to look into looking for a, a bigger seat for you. Yeah.
Let's break the record first. Okay. Good to have you here. Would you mind introducing yourself to the virtual audience?
Okay, I'm Nancy. I'm Nancy Kisiedu. I'm a brand and marketing expert. Um, I work in one of the big four firms. I don't know if I'm allowed to be mentioned order here, so let me just
Yeah, of
go up
course, you're
front.
allowed. Oh, you mean allowed from your company?
From my side, yeah.
Right, right.
Yeah, but like my fiancé mentioned, we are founders of Fina Captains. So that's pretty much about Nancy. Oh, and I love chocolates. So yeah.
Okay. When did you realize you love chocolates?
Oh, I think it's from my mom's womb. She was enjoying some chocolates
That's
herself, so I just
interesting.
had to pick it up from there.
Okay, that's really interesting.
Oh, I hope you love
So
chocolates too.
if I come again,
I hope you love chocolates too.
oh yeah, I do. I do.
That's great. That's great.
If I remember, yeah, if I remember when you were in Radford, you were in fashion department. How did you end up in marketing?
Actually, my big brother was in fashion. I was in graphic design.
You were in graphic, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you were in graphic design. Did you watch my session with Mr. Alan?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the session. I mean, speaking about where Radford began, I mean, the moving and all that. I
Yeah,
think that the new space actually looks great. I've seen the new building, like the two he was talking about and everything, introducing new
yeah.
courses. And all that. That's actually great.
Hmm. That's impressive. So tell me, how did you end up in marketing? And now you are a big marketing manager.
Well, it was something I was always around. So I worked in a lot of agencies. God being so good, I had the opportunity right after school to work in. I worked in Digicraft. I worked in Results. I mean, all these firms that handled most of the big brands. And in an agency, it's one thing I keep saying. I would advise everybody who comes out of school to at least and have an agency feel, because over there you're working as teams. So you get to experience a bit of everything, learn from everyone. We have teams that consists of the graphic designer, the copywriter, the strategists, I mean the marketer, accountant, everything. So that is where you are able to take or grab that opportunity to learn from everyone. So it's like you learning to be a marketer unconsciously. So you think you are still just a designer, but if you push yourself out there a bit, you end up learning more. So from the agency side, I had the opportunity to work with the marketing manager for another multinational company. So over there, I learned a whole lot. I mean, I had a couple of courses here and there and all that. And God being so good, he opened mighty doors for me to enter into the marketing space. And it's actually been interesting. It's been a lot to learn, and it has taught me that as a graphic designer, you really don't need to only end up being a graphic designer. You actually appreciate your job more as a graphic designer when you know much about every space.
Right.
Imagine you working as a graphic designer and they are marketing a couple of things. You having knowledge in marketing will make you do more. You go above and beyond when you're handling your job.
Right. That's nice. So what's the aspect of your job that you like the most now?
Okay, so I like the fact that I get to bring out ideas, watch them fully fleshed out. When you are a graphic designer and you're working in a lot of like with a lot of team members and all that, I mean, sharing ideas and all that is all great, but you don't. There's not much you can do because sadly, there's a little stigma. People don't talk about it, but there's a bit of a graphic design stigma. Um, and we'll get to that one later. But yeah, I started appreciating where I am more because of the journey I've had, because of what I've been through. So being here now, I enjoy the fact that I'm able to sit, I'm able to do research on my own and enjoy the process, bring out great ideas and watch them actually go out there. So I enjoy that from my side.
Mm. That's nice. Okay. So let's go back to some of the fundamentals. When you were at Radford, did you ever think of becoming a marketing person?
No. Recently I was having one of my conversations with my fiancé, and I told him that honestly speaking, if God showed me fast forward that this is where you'd be, I'm like, God, you are lying. Because Radford, I used to be the freelancer kind of designer where it's all
Mm,
about the money actually. So I
mm,
was getting as a Radford, I was working for a company. I was doing a lot of freelancing here and there. So I
mm,
actually thought my life was going to just end up being a designer and just maybe freelancing and all that. I
mm.
really didn't know that it would have ended up here, and I'm glad actually that by God's grace it did.
That's great. Okay. So now you are living a dream that you like, I guess.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's I didn't know I'll get to a stage where I'll need to be teaching people, I'll need to be leading people. I've
Mm,
I've never really been a leader. Um, I've been a follower, actually. I've been someone that growing up, I always liked to be with the smart kids and follow. I liked to learn from them. So even at Radford, all my friends were those who were topping the class. And usually after they top the class, I'm right under them. So I think it was a good thing I did. Little did I know that it would take me this far, because even the Bible says it that when you walk with wise people, I mean, it rubs off on you. You you
mm.
you end up you might think you are not being influenced, but trust me, you are really being
Yeah,
influenced.
absolutely. Today we are talking about purpose, something more than gold. What is purpose actually?
So for me, purpose is you finding that particular vision or that goal that to you really want to achieve. I'm talking on a layman point of view, but like my fiancé said yesterday, we are very spiritual people. So on the spiritual side of
Mm,
things, I believe strongly that purpose is you being in line with your call from God.
mm,
And that is where a lot of people end up getting confused, because
mm,
now everybody wants to be a bit of Esther, a bit of Samuel, a bit of King David, King Solomon. Everybody wants to be a bit of someone else around them. But trust me, there's nothing fulfilling than you actually keeping a relationship with God where you know exactly where God is calling you to be or where God wants you to walk in. The minute you get into that space, you notice that you do everything with ease. It won't be a lot of struggles because you know that you are there, you're where you're supposed to be.
How do you know? Because so many times, you know, I'm sure you would have heard this story. People who thought they are at the center of what they are supposed to be, and then eventually they changed their mind and started doing something else. So would you say their purpose changed? I like asking this question a lot.
Don't worry, it's fine. I wouldn't say their purpose changed. Okay. So let's just make it this way. Let's say let me give an example. So there's actually a water body or whatever that maybe the water in there is going to a particular destination, but then maybe it goes through different parts or different streams. By the end of the day, it gets to the end it gets to the end entrance or whatever it's supposed to get to. So what happens with purpose is that when you begin, you are at your confusion stage. So there are a lot of stages people go through before finally you get to your particular purpose. So the beginning, it seems hazy, you're not certain. So that's where as spiritual people, we seek counsel from God. People keep saying that they don't hear God and all that. But I used to be there. I used to say, no, I can't hear God. But God helped me to a point where you know when you hear God's voice. It's like you receiving a call from a particular friend you always talk to. Even if they are to call you with another unknown number, the minute you pick up, you know the person's voice. That's how deep of a relationship you're supposed to have with God. That way, when He speaks, you know what He's saying. So,
how do you hear His voice?
That's what I said. So, when you keep a relationship with God, that is in prayer, in study of the Word, you get to a point where God speaks to you, even in your dreams, even like as I'm speaking to you, God can be telling me something I should say to you, and you be like,
what does His voice sound like to you?
So for me, God's voice sounds like the truth. He says,
"What is truth?"
He says, "I'm the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Father except through me." The truth is, when I'm to tell you something about yourself right now, I'm to say something, and you know that there's no way I'm supposed to know this thing, but I do. I'm not a magician. It's only God that can tell me for me to tell you something.
So, yeah, the question is, if we are telling somebody that God spoke to you, what did the voice sound like? Did you hear it here? Did you hear it in your heart? Or did you hear it in your brain? Where do you usually
I
hear
guess
the
the
voice?
same way you are chatting with me. You know, we have the Holy Spirit in us. So the Holy Spirit is your friend. He speaks to you the same way we are chatting right now.
Yeah, so it's important for people to understand because some people wonder, okay, you said God spoke to you. Now tell me how. Did he whisper to your ear? Did he shout in your ear? Did he drop something on your head? Where is that voice?
He doesn't need to shout.
And are you
Usually,
talking about
it's
the
a
voice of
still
the mind?
voice. There's a still calm voice you hear within you. And the minute you hear that calm, still voice, usually you hear it once. And the minute you hear it, you know that this is God telling me to do this. And
When was the first time you heard? When was the first time you heard the voice?
Oh, the first time I heard the voice was when I was in a relationship I wasn't supposed to be in. And God spoke to me that I should ask the particular person a question. And I should expect a particular answer.
How
And
come
the
you entered before you heard?
So that's where the mercy of God found me. He leaves the 99 just for the one. He comes to save me, no matter how messed up. No matter how messed up you can get, like, I mean, I just love God so much. He always
Yeah.
finds a way to pull us out, no matter how stubborn we are. But this time around, I just couldn't run away from the voice. And I mean, like David said, taste and see the Lord is good. I tasted for myself. I did the instructions God gave me, and I saw everything pan out the same way God said it. And I was like, wow, this actually works. So that was, for me, my spiritual awakening really began from there. And ever since then till now, in dreams, even with the companies I work with, like, God shows me. He gives me the reasons why I should go there, what I should do, who I should meet, I can sometimes meet someone, say a thing to the person's like, wow. So honestly speaking, this life is purpose driven, and you can only stay in line when you have a deep relationship with God. You know, sometimes as human beings, we like to eat our cake and have it. So would try to play smart. I mean, I used to be there, try to play smart and try and use our strength to do everything. But the minute you find God, you realize that you really don't need to use your strength every time. God is always going to be your strength. And that's what I pray for you this whole week, that God gives you strength.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you very much for the prayer. Now, purpose. Who gives purpose? Do you choose your purpose, or how does that happen?
So for me, I believe strongly that God gives purpose. He says that I knew you before you were a clot of blood in your mother's womb. You know, God sees marriage and seeds as a very serious thing to him, because these are kingdom marriages that he plants his seeds through to come and do his work on earth. So you notice, like Jesus, like Samuel, like John the Baptist, God always sows his seed and he sends people to do things on earth. So you only find your purpose the minute you come into this world and you continue in line with having a relation, maintain and sustain. You have to keep that relationship with God. You know, like,
So does it
people.
mean that does it mean that every other person who doesn't know God and lived a good life, they didn't live their purpose? Let's
For
say
that,
someone like Leonardo da Vinci. Does it mean he didn't live his purpose?
honestly speaking, that's why when I started talking, I said, I believe, usually these kind of things, they are quite subjective. You can't entirely tell somebody how they are supposed to believe or they are supposed to think. So for me, I believe that you need to have a relationship with God in order to know your purpose, in order to know your calling. And the minute you get close to God, you find out that there's this, because everything you'll be doing would just be at ease. You would there'll be this fulfillment inside your heart, like there'll be this peace that I'm in the right place. So for me, that's my belief. The rest is for others to feel or think how they want to.
I like Nancy. I like your point of view. You are speaking your truth, and
Yeah.
is your point of view. So yeah, but I'm asking because, you know, sometimes we say these things and people have questions about it, and so we need to be able to clarify to them. Correct?
Oh yeah, yeah. That's why I keep saying, David said,
Yeah.
taste and see that the Lord is good. Sometimes it's not
Mm.
just about talking, it's
Okay.
experiential knowledge. It's about
So
tasting. Yeah.
let's walk through the processes of finding or deciding one's purpose. Now, step one, if you have to break it into step-by-step process.
Okay. So step one, I'll say find God.
Okay. Step 2.
Step 2 is keep a relationship with him.
Step 3.
Step 3, always make sure you never miss being in your secret place. Let me see how I can shorten that. So when we say secret place, we say it
Yeah.
means always having your own space with God where you pray, you study the word. You have to make sure you keep that.
Okay. That seems like step 2. Relationship.
Yeah. So let's just maintain it as these 2 steps, because usually
Yeah.
when you maintain that secret place, it's between
Yeah.
you and God. And at the end of the day, you are
Yeah.
the only one who really knows what God is telling you to do.
Absolutely. So now you decide your purpose, and then how do you ensure that you stick to that purpose? Because obviously you have several things that you want to do with your life, but now you are saying God has called you to be a fashion designer, but you also want to be a marketer. How do you stick to the purpose?
Okay. So yesterday, my fiancé said something about kingdom financing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So kingdom financing is something that is tied with purpose as well. You know,
Mm.
but he also said something that the word of God is free and all that, but the wheels to which it's sent is not free.
Yeah. Right.
So there were people, Paul in the Bible, Paul was an apostle, but he was working.
Mm.
You are setting an example as a Christian to others. So in finding your purpose, in you working, in you earning, at the end of the day, you're also doing it to do what supports the kingdom.
Right. So
So
the
it's
overall conclusion is find your purpose in God.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
You have to find your
So
purpose in God.
right. Now, what is the importance of purpose? Let's go to that side, because one of the greatest questions of life is, why am I here? Right?
Yeah.
Why am I here? Who am I? Why am I here? So, what is the why is purpose so important?
Purpose is so important because as a person, you are a generation. A lot of people don't know that thing, but actually, every person on earth is a generation. Whatever you do in line with your purpose is going to go a long way to affect your entire generation. Everyone is going to benefit from it. So imagine if you're not able to fulfill that purpose, the generation behind you, you just killed everything. That's
Mm.
one of the most important things about purpose. It's like you doing the Guinness record right now. And I mean, I believe strongly God is going to bless it and give you the strength and everything for it. And at the end of the day, you said something in your video that you were purpose driven to do this. You are doing this to help a lot of people. These are generations that are tied to your back.
Mm. Nancy is giving me more pressure. Oh
Oh, no,
man.
no pressure, no pressure. Relax, be relaxed. But yeah, I mean, those ahead of us were able to fulfill their purposes. That's why some of us are also here today.
Yeah.
I didn't get up and I'm where I am now. It's
Right.
people went through a lot for me to actually be here. So I'm also
Yeah.
tied to a generation. I'm also tied to
Yeah.
people. So
Yeah.
that's why purpose is very important. Very important.
Right. Right. Okay. So now, for people who have lived their life on their own, you know, opinion of what they think they want to be without God, not recognizing God in any way, what would you want to say to them?
I really pray that they encounter God, because there's with God, yeah, It's never too late. That's the beauty about God. God is not man. I mean, he's not petty and all that. God is actually, he always has his arms wide open to receive everybody at any time. I mean, Abraham was very old before he really started, or he did, and I mean, became the father of all of us and everything. And today we are heirs of Abraham. I mean, you hear a lot of Christians praying and saying, I'm an heir of Abraham, I am blessed, I'm covenant and all that. But God used him at a very old age. So for those who feel like they've gone by the wayside and all that, it's never too late. God, there are some people that it will shock you. Their purpose is even just like 2 years or 3 years or something. God, because when Jesus was here, he didn't stay for long. He stayed for a very short time. And there are so many stories like that where there are wives that God sent a particular woman to a man's life to go and do some things. And the minute she finished, God just told her, "It's that, yeah, what you were sent here to do, it's over. You know, you're done with everything. You can come back home."
Should I tell my guy this thing? Should I tell Felix?
Oh, he's a very spiritual person, so godly
Tell
things
Felix
are
what is
for
happening.
him.
Felix, you will hear this.
He's watching, so I'm sure by now he's laughing. Oh, but yeah, the God we serve is just he's a wonderful God, and he does his things
Yeah.
always beautifully. So just
I
stick with
asked
God.
Felix the same. Yeah, I asked Felix the same question I'm about to ask you. You know, in our society, especially in this part of the world, because this is where I've heard that a lot.
Yeah.
People say, "Oh, these people, they are praying all the time instead of working. They are praying. It's only prayers. God will not, those kind of things." So for you, you're a young lady and you can't speak 3 sentences without mentioning God. So why do you think God is that important in the life of a young lady like yourself, instead of focusing all your career in all your energy in your career, working hard to innovate and make a difference? You are here talking about God, 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 God. So people that talk like that, what do you answer them?
I say that there's a tree saying that goes it's more like until wada. Like it's more of like if you've not experienced it yet, just relax. I pray for everybody that they all get to experience it because I used to be there. I was
Right.
duped. I was duped by pastors. I went through crazy things with pastors and all that. So I mean, people say it's from a place of hurt
Mm,
because I mean, one pastor took your money, one person, all that. That
mm,
sadly it happens that way because you didn't decide to build your personal relationship with God. You decided to look to people, and now the hurt has caused bitterness. But it's my prayer that everybody heals from it and allows themselves to open up their hearts to receive God and have that experience, that personal experience, not just going to church. And but some people feel like going to church on Sunday, that is it. But no, it's have your personal relationship with God. That way, when you see people being audacious, when you see people all about Jesus, all about God, you understand it because I always use myself as a testimony. I was born sickle cell. I was told I wasn't gonna live past 20. And I mean, you really need a relationship with God. It's only God that can break some patterns, break some barriers. It's only God that can do some things in your life that you in tree we say "Ebebro wa adwene on TSS," so it would overwhelm you. You become speechless and you really don't need anybody to tell you about Jesus. Your experience, the Bible says that my testimonies are my counselors. Your experience will be your counselor.
mm. That's a very, very good testimony. You have proof, of what you're saying. So it's not like brainwashed person talking about something that they've not handled. You have first-hand experience of it. That's
Yeah.
impressive. All right. As we gradually come to the top of the hour,
Mhm.
I want you to share, a few words to help people who are listening to you, trying to, grow their careers. What advice would you want to give to them to help them strategize, find purpose, live their purpose, and stick with their purpose?
Yeah, the first thing I would say is wherever you are, please never lose heart. Don't, sometimes you go through some roller coasters, some crazy things happen in your life, and it makes you lose hope and all that. Actually, don't keep holding on. Sometimes those roller coasters are what brings you to your purpose. You go through them, and now you are the one that can encourage someone because you've been there before. So make sure to stick to God, and He's the only one that can actually direct you, that can guide your path, and that can take you to a successful end. The Bible says that the path of the righteous shines brighter and brighter unto the perfect day. And I'm a living testament to that. That the minute you stick to God, He will guide you. He will that you please, and to everybody, I beg you in Jesus' name, don't go and pay any pastor to come and help you do your purpose. To come and tell you to go and do something. Please, I beg you, get to know God for yourself. It's the most fulfilling and the most important thing you can do for your life, for your destiny. Jesus came and he finished everything on the cross for all of us. And he didn't leave us dry and empty. He left us with the Holy Spirit. He said the Holy Spirit is your comforter, he's your everything. So you're really not alone. So don't allow any pastor implant fear in you. He says, I'm not giving you the spirit of timidity, but of sound mind and of power. There's so much inside you that God is just waiting for you to come, and both of you would unearth it. And you'll be a very happy person, a very happy
Mm,
person in life. People won't understand you, but they'll see you and you are full of so much peace and joy because you know the God you said, if God be for us, who can be against us?
mm.
That's all I'll have to share.
That's all for mommy. Ayo.
I'm sure by now the Radford people will be screaming because I wasn't as a so yeah, but we thank God. We thank God. And I also want to pray for you that God helps you with strength. I mean, what you're
Mm,
doing, we're all proud of you. It's a great thing you are doing. I mean, and I'm so honored to be a part of this as well. And it's my prayer that you overbreak this in Jesus' name.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah,
Amen.
you overbreak this, then you come for Felix and I our wedding. So
Okay. No problem. No
yes, when you're
problem. I
coming, we
will.
still stand for you. So
Okay. Thank you. Thank
thank
you. Thank you,
thank
Nancy.
thank you for having
Good
me.
night. You're
Here.
welcome. Let her in.
Your mic is open.
Hello. Hello.
Hello, Tom Chris. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. You look
Awesome.
wonderful.
Well, thank you, thank you. I had to be ready to show up for you. So
That's wonderful. How's your baby? Or
she's
how are
doing
your baby?
great. Well, yeah. Everybody's doing great. Everybody's doing great. Thank you. How are you? You're doing great. I've been watching some interviews here and there, and you're
Oh
killing it.
yeah? Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you so much.
Like you're mentally here, which is great because I don't know if this is definitely a test of strength.
It is. It's a test of
Yeah.
everything but strength, spirit, energy, and every other asset I have is testing all of them.
Yeah.
So I am just, you know, riding on the wings of all the good wishes and the prayers.
Yeah.
And I thank God that I haven't collapsed by now. So let's see. I hope I keep going strong like this.
Wow, I hope so too. I'm laughing, but
Yeah,
it's more like nervous laughter for you. I hope you're okay. But I
I
mean,
am.
you're fueling your body, right? You're doing okay that way.
In the morning, was it last night? To be completely transparent, last night I was like, hey, who sent me to do this thing? But this morning I felt better. And then this evening, oh, I'm beginning to, adjust and sink into it.
Yeah.
Um, but I guess I shouldn't brag yet until tomorrow morning. We'll see.
But I mean, you should. You've come so far, so far right now. So it's okay to celebrate your wins,
Right.
even if it's
Yeah.
not. Yeah, yeah. Well, congratulations. I think you're doing
Thank
great.
you.
Hang
Thank
in
you
there.
so much.
Yeah, but a lot of us are on the sidelines cheering for you. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm collecting all the positive energy and yeah. So,
Yeah.
thank you. Right. So please introduce yourself to our virtual audience.
Okay, my name is Gloria, also known as Yomisola. Friends and family call me Yomisola, but I go by both. I'm Nigerian. Currently, I live in Las Vegas area in Nevada. And as far as entrepreneurship goes, I'm currently the founder of a luxury travel advising company called Pearl and Salt. And I'm also a children's book author. I have a diversity themed A to Z book out there called Afro to Zen. So that's in a nutshell, a little bit about me.
That's impressive. I saw the book. It looks nice, actually. Well
Thank
illustrated.
you. Thank you.
I saw the
Yeah,
cover. It looks really beautiful.
thank you. I appreciate that.
What made you write a book for children?
And my daughter,
Right.
I was teaching her the ABCs and we were going through so many, like we go to the library this once every 2 weeks to get books and to read. And most of the ABC books I was seeing then were very Caucasian oriented. There wasn't one that was like all encompassing that I found during that time. So I decided to write one. So yeah, that's why diversity theme, the different ethnicities. I pulled different things from different cultures around the world in there for the A to Z. So yeah, that was my inspiration, was my daughter
Right.
to, teach
Did she
them
love it?
Ah. She's, I mean, she reads it, she knows the words, but it's no comparison to Llama Llama for her. She loves Llama Llama Red Pajamas. So
Right.
yeah. But I mean she's learning the words, she understands the context. So that's really what I wrote it for. And that's all I can ask for right now.
Yeah. A
Yeah,
win, right?
exactly. Exactly.
So, I would like to, go back in time. You were born in Nigeria or in the US?
Yes, born and raised in Nigeria. I came to the United States for college, and then
Right.
I stayed on since then. Yeah.
What is it about Nigeria and college and collecting degrees? Have you figured that out?
Like Nigerians in college or Nigerians just getting as many degrees as
As
possible.
many degrees as possible.
I mean, it's a flex for us, and it's
I
also
know.
a survival thing for us. Because for the longest time, I can't speak for Gen Z. It's a little bit different with this generation because the conditions in the country have changed drastically. Um, but for the longest time, people got prestige from, either you have 20 chieftaincy titles, or you're collecting those degrees and you have doctor or engineer or architect, some by your name. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's just a very Nigerian thing to,
Yeah.
yeah, to show that you're better
Impressive.
educated than the next person.
Well, I mean, our culture is built on prestige, so it makes absolute
Exactly.
sense. You're right.
Yeah. If you're not a chief, then you're a PhD or you're a doctor or
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
put some
So
respect by your name.
I
Yeah.
know, put some respect on it. So
Mhm.
you left Nigeria, went to the US, and decided to settle after your degree course.
Yes, I decided to stay in the United States. At that time, I just didn't know where to start from if I was going back to Nigeria. And then I was hearing horror stories about NYSC and anyway, and then I got a job here. And I was like, okay, I'll try it out. I see how it goes. And then at that point, um I spent a couple of years here, and I was thinking I might as well just stay on and get my green card instead of going back. So I know that at least that time I can come back and leave whenever I want to. And one thing led to the other, and I'm still I'm still here. So I mean, now I'm
Right.
married, my family is here,
Right.
my is here, so it's a little bit tougher now to make that kind of transition. But yeah, I just stayed on and. It was always in like 2, 3 year increments. I would reevaluate, but
Right.
new opportunities kept coming that was hard to say no to and go, to the unknown, right?
Mhm.
So the more, and then with time, you put more roots down, and it just becomes life.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So your career has been interesting. You started out building technology and now you are in travel. Talk to us
Yes.
about that.
Oh boy. I think this is my third career transition.
Yes, the
Started
ones I
off
know about.
Yeah. Well, the official ones. I've had a lot of things on the side. So, but the
Right.
officially, I started off as a quality assurance engineer. And I did that for about 6, 7 years. And then actually a little bit longer because I did product management and that at the same time.
Mm,
I I got my MBA and then I just wanted to do something MBA related, not necessarily in that field, but something on a business level, because it was a very technical role that I was in. So I was looking at my options and product management, kept coming up. And it wasn't as widespread as it is today back then. I made that transition. I think I started making transition in 2012. And it became official in 2014. So I was learning under the VP of products at that time. They took me to the ring and I just learned as much as I could. But then I was serving 2 masters because my boss in QA didn't want to let me go to join the product team. So I was working and it just became very tenuous. So I left and joined a new company and I've been doing product since then. And then this third one was actually not planned in the sense of this is not the time that I wanted to start it, but this is the time that, the universe said it was time to start it, So it's one of those situations that I got furloughed from the last job I was in. And that really just means that they laid off it wasn't a complete layoff, it was a TBD, right? It was a startup. They're raising I think it was a third round at that point of funds, and it fell through because there was the interest rates started going up in America. There were a lot of things that just didn't line up. It was a fintech company. And so that fell through. So we got furloughed. And then I started going back to the job market and looking for a job. And at that point, my daughter was one, about just turned one. And I had 3 months off of work. And it was just a lot on my plate. So I took some time off, and then on and off, I kept going back to the job market. I just kept going worse and worse and worse. And I kept thinking, is this what I want to keep doing? Or do I want to, bring up my plan to do something for myself full time and go that direction, right? So it was a lot of soul searching, because being an entrepreneur is not glamorous at all. When you're used to having a paycheck come your way, and you're giving that up to, hustle by yourself and build something that you dream about, it's not an easy path. So I took the leap. After a lot of soul searching, a lot of research. Of course, like my right brain and my left brain have to be aligned for me to say this is what I want to do. I had, excuse me, I had my guiding principles. Like I looked at a bunch of different things that I felt were good business ideas, going online, figuring out what my personality is. There are a lot of tests that you can do. And I think working all these years in the tech industry, I think I've been in tech for 15 plus years at this point. So it was easy for me to figure out what I can handle. I know I can motivate myself. I know I've done things on the side that, kicked off well, but I just didn't have the time to put in that time into those projects to make them grow. So this is like me jumping in with both feet. And I went into travel because travel's always been a passion for me. It's been like my outlet. It's been my solace, right? So, when things are going hard or life is kicking my butt, travel is my outlet. If I want to reconnect with friends, travel is my outlet. If I want to explore and, appreciate the world more, like it doesn't necessarily have to be international. It can be going from state to state here. So travel has always been that thing for me that has like a healing component and like a very eye-opening, broadening my horizons component. So yeah, that's what kind of fueled this. And then I looked into it. There are a lot of niches in travel. So I just went in and tried to figure out who my ideal clients would be, right? What I wanted to do, my ideal clients would be. I kept fine-tuning it until I found a niche that fits who the market that I want to serve and the kind of clients that I want to have.
That's impressive. And the company has launched already?
Yeah, September was the official launch.
Right.
Yes.
Last September.
Yes, this past September.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, it's new.
So yeah, it's still new, but
Yeah.
I guess you already know what it's going to be because you have a lot to make it successful, and I think it will be a success in no time. Have you started? Yeah, no problem at all. Is the truth actually? Have you started onboarding users?
Oh yes, so my first clients just came back from Paris. I planned an an anniversary trip to Paris for them. So that went well. I'm doing a debrief with them coming soon. I'm planning a group trip right now. They're going on a cruise, on a Caribbean cruise. So I'm planning that right now for them. So yeah, it's fun. It's doing what I love. It's just validating that, when I'm doing that work, it makes me really happy and it's very inspiring. And it's also an outlet that you can be creative with, right? I can, infuse my creativity into it. And yeah, it's been fun. Yeah.
That's wonderful. So how does the app work?
It's It's not an app, actually. It's service based.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not an app. No.
How does it work?
How does the service work?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so my clientele is mostly luxury clientele. So
Yeah.
if you're looking to travel, so for example, I'll use the Paris trip and how that process works with them. There are a couple that I know, and they've been wanting to go to Paris. The wife has been, the husband hadn't, and they've been wanting to go together for a while, but they're just really busy people and they haven't had the chance to, plan it. And then Russia was coming up, so they were like, we need your help to plan something. And what I normally do is I will, do an intake, they fill out a form, so I get an idea of what they're looking for. And then I have meetings with them one-on-one just to understand what they like, right? If you like to go to museums, you like sightseeing, you like doing adventurous things like that. And then I create a travel guide for them. So it contains information like, general etiquette, what airports are there, what the weather is going to look like when you're going, just general information. If you, in case of an emergency, what you're going to need while you're there. I plan everything that you need to know as someone traveling, right? Well, if there's any weather disasters that might be on the horizon, look out for that as well for my clients. And then I build an itinerary based on all the things that you've told me that you liked, our conversations one-on-one, and then we present the itinerary, and then they go over it and see what they like, what they don't like, and then build up the trip from there. So it's kind of like a white glove service for planning trips. Yeah.
Do you plan to make it an app eventually?
Yes and no. I can't tell you how many app ideas that I've written down, but I'm trying to stay focused because it's going to distract me from my goals, right? Because that's my background, like I've created apps in the past. That's probably why you're asking that, because I've been doing that for a while, but I want to build the foundation of this on service, right? And I've identified gaps in the industry that an app would serve really well for. But I'm trying to punt this to people that actually actively build apps right now, because that's not my focus. I don't want to deviate from the main focus of what I'm building right now. So maybe in the future, because right now I'm focusing on building, I'm focusing on getting the operation side of things together, getting the systems together. So that way, when I'm bringing more people on board, it's an easier flow of onboarding people to work with me to serve more people, right? So that's what I'm focusing on. So when I have that down, then I can, flesh. But I have ideas written down. I'm not dismissing them. It's just not my focus right now.
Yeah, sure. Understood.
Yeah.
Impressive. Okay, so I guess we've already entered your topic, transitioning from corporate to entrepreneurship. You've shared some tidbit, but as a framework for individuals that might want to think around that option or explore that option, what are the steps that you took or that anybody can take?
For transitioning,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, I think I touched a little bit about this earlier, and it started with really taking inventory, right, of myself and what I can or can't do, and just being honest with myself, because entrepreneurship is hard. It's easier to go find a job, to find something, like even if it's something small to do, right? And it's one of those things of being honest with yourself, right? I had to sit down with myself and say, okay, this is going to be a long road. It's not going to be easy. And I had to be my biggest cheerleader and believe in myself that I can actually do this. And I chose this path because I can set my times for my availability times, right? I'm my own beck and call in the manner of speaking. So this works for that as well. So I can balance, family life and work life as well. I'm not 24 hours working like I used to. So that was another thing for me that was important, right? I wrote down like three top guiding principles for myself. It was integrity, kindness, and creativity. And I wanted to go into something that I could practice those three things actively and be of service to people. And I just looking through all the options of business ideas that I had. It just fits seamlessly with what I'm doing right now with the travel industry.
Right.
Yeah. So that was one
Do you-
part. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you continue.
No, I was saying, yeah, so that was one part. The other part is just going in there with the things I learned from, the business side of things, making sure that it's not just an emotional decision, right? Like, is there money to be made here? Who's the audience? Who am I going to serve? How do I reach these people? And so on and so forth. So it's also, doing the due diligence to make sure that this idea, okay, fine, checks my boxes as far as like emotionally and values and principles. But the business side of it is also very important. So I did that as well. Did my market research and did a lot of research before I jumped in.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's impressive because sometimes the research is what's missing. They just do it kosher, where people make emotional decisions and jump into processes or systems that haven't been proven. And yeah, research-driven decision is always the best. Now, you are working, you have a child, you are married, and you have this business now. Do you think is limiting from anything, or do you think it would have been easier if you had started this before you had a baby?
I think the timing is perfect, right? And I say that because if I had done this before I had my child, I wouldn't have the same drive that I have right now, right? Because I'm doing this for me and for her, like for my family, right? And it'd be great to leave her a legacy. It would be great to see this flourish and leave her a legacy. So I think that it's the right timing. It wasn't one that I planned to be right now. It was going to be down the road, like later on in life. I'll dabble in this, but it's just the timeline moved up really quickly. And yeah, I think the timing is good. Yeah.
Right. In terms of the service industry, we have a horrible service industry over here in many West African countries. But I don't think it will be like that over there.
No, especially in Vegas. This Vegas is known for its hospitality.
Service.
Yeah.
You've lived in Vegas for a long time, right?
I moved here in 2012, actually. Yes, 2012. That's
That's
12 years. Yes, that's a
so
long
big.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you plan for the corporate trips to Africa?
I mean, hopefully that would be great. I do want to add a retreat element to it. Once this foundation is laid, I'll start building our retreat for Pearl and Salt. So that Africa will definitely be on the horizon then. Yeah.
Investment missions, entry and what is it? Company entry, sightseeing, and things like that. Are they under your radar in this process?
When you say company entry, what do you mean?
Let's say a company wants to establish in Ghana, but wants to see the environment under, under some low-key conditions that requires a tour guide of some sort. You
Got it.
can bring, yeah, things like that. I don't know if they do it that way, but
Yeah.
you are of the continent and you've been to Ghana, I think more than once. So you
Mhm.
practically know the environment to bring somebody in and show around and show them
Yeah.
the centers of the economy. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that I'll be because I know so many people in so many different places. I think I'll be a um better purpose for that would be introducing those kinds of clients to people that they can trust in the country, people that are on the
Right.
ground already, right? Because I mean, I don't live there, so I even whatever my intentions are, regardless of how good my intentions would be, I'm not there firsthand, right? I'm not there every day. So having people that I can trust and saying, candidly, this person will not lead you astray will
Right.
be where my strength would be in those kinds of situations, right? So
Right.
say someone wants to come to Ghana, I have you there and I can talk to you and
Mhm.
say, this person is looking for XYZ. Can you,
Right.
give them a day or two and just show them around and, let them see things from the real side of things, not the glamorized side of things.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes absolute sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so looking at the uh, hospitality industry, when you were here, were you thinking about this before, before you came the last time? Were you thinking about this kind of business that you started now?
Oh yes, I've thought about travel for a long time. I've thought about travel photography, being a travel journalist. I've thought about, and most of the things revolve around travel, right? That's been at the heart of it. I've always loved to travel. I've been
Right,
traveling, I think I was 12 or 13 when my parents put me on a flight and sent me off, when you can fly unaccompanied, right? And those were like some of the most exciting early days I remember. So it's
right,
always been like this source of joy and excitement for me. So it's always been at the back of my mind. And just helping people travel on their terms, right? So for you, like luxury travel for you might be different from the next person. Some people
right,
want to, go up to Greenland to see the Northern Lights, go to Antarctica, go to Galapagos Islands and do the expedition trips and be with nature. Like for some people, that's how they want to travel. For some people, it's, five-star hotels and big pampering. For some people, it's cultural immersions, to be with the locals, be safe, and experience a culture, right? So it's just different for different people, and not everybody knows how to approach those situations. So
right.
yeah, that's where I come in, is bridging that gap for them and helping people
Mm.
experience what they really truly want to experience.
And that means you've been building your contact for a very long time,
Very long. Yeah.
places, people, experiences, and things that would, enrich their service options, things like that. I'm sure you have a folder already.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I'm also part of a consortium, a travel consortium, where um, they also have accesses to vetted local
Right,
companies around the world. So I'm not saying I've been to every country. Of course I have. And my thing is I do a lot of research, right? I do a lot of research. I do a lot of reaching out to people and finding what fits. So I can say, some people want to go to Colombia and they want to have, a great VIP experience throughout. I have contacts there where they own their own companies on the ground, right? And they will make sure that, from the food to your airport transportation to moving around there and going out, day and night, you have somebody local there that will be a guide for you and like be your one-stop shop for anything that you need. So there are different ways to plan trips, the different, different characteristics that come with it, the different modes that, can come out of it. So yeah, it's pretty cool to have that in my back pocket as well, where, you can reach worldwide to different contacts around the world to make whatever my client has in mind a reality.
Yeah. So if someone wants to establish this kind of a travel experience design company from over here, for example, what advice would you give to the person?
Oh, wow. If I'll just, because I don't know what it's like to start this kind of thing from Ghana. I don't know if there's some kind of certifications that you need or business licenses that you need specifically, but like I've been saying, this is research, right? So do your research and find out what you need so you don't get in trouble for bootlegging things. Or you can be a disruptor and you say sorry later. You pick your poison. But for me, it's just doing as much research and reaching out to people that are in the same industry and have the same like background of the business I'm looking to, and talk to them, pick their brains and just see how they did it. You don't necessarily have to copy in somebody's footsteps, but you can get inspiration from it. I can get ideas. When I started, I joined SCORE. It's for entrepreneurs in Las Vegas area, and you get a mentor. So it's just really, I did all the research myself, but I wanted someone in the travel industry as well to just let me know these are like the no-nos, because there's some lessons that I rather not learn myself. So it's just picking their brain, seeing and having that ongoing relationship, seeing if there's anything to avoid, if there anything that I'm not looking at, what my blind spots are, someone that would be candid and open. So yeah, I think just having access to people that have done this before and doing your own research as well. And now we have AI tools, right? Like Claude, ChatGPT, Perplexity. They're really helpful with filling those gaps and like helping you spot, your blind spots and seeing where you can grow and get better at your business. So yeah.
Yeah. Wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah. And it's been like a few minutes that we started talking, and I still have lots of questions, but it's already getting to, yeah, absolutely. You have lots of ideas and insights. So do you think you'll build another type of business?
Baby steps. Baby
Baby
steps.
steps, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
baby steps. Like like I said, I have my journal and I write down my ideas, and every once in a while I'll go back to them and read them. There are things like I said with the retreat, like I'm working with a 6 month to a year roadmap continuously.
Right.
So that's what I use to measure my success, where I've been, with milestones that I've hit, so that I don't, overwhelm myself and inundate myself with all the dreams, because I'm a dreamer. Like I can just tell you so many dreams that I have, but it's just, focusing on like my true north and prioritize brutally above other things. So yeah, that's what I'm doing right now.
Right. Are you do you happen to like politics in any way?
um that's when you say like politics, it's inevitable, right? Politics is inevitable. If you're going to have a say in your community and where you live, you have to get into politics. There's no way to escape that. But as far as liking it, I'm not Not really. I'm not big on politics, but I know that I have to keep my pulse on it and have to know what's
Right,
going on. Yeah.
right. So, what do you think about the tension between African Americans and the Africans that, you know, just came in? It seems like there's always this there was this viral post I saw on Twitter.
Mhm.
Um, a real African American will know XYZ something something. You know, it's like throwing a shade on the Africans that come in. So it
Mhm.
seems like there is this imbalance sort of.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah.
Yeah.
Have you is it like a real issue or just social media talk?
I the way I see it, right, it's everybody has their experience, right? Everybody has what they're going through in life and their journey. So I can't really say yes or no because I'm in my own bubble, right? I mean, with time, you learn to either embrace things or create your own boundaries, right? So it's not like, oh, you're going through life with blinders. It's just picking and choosing what you choose to put your energy into, right? And I think a lot of things and a lot of it just, I'll take Nigeria for example. It's like people saying, oh, tribalism is a big deal in Nigeria. Yes, it is a big deal, but not everybody is tribalist in Nigeria,
Right.
right? So, but like when there was a big blow up with the elections, the Nigerian elections in Lagos with the Easterners, the non-Yorubas versus the Yorubas. I mean, it's messy, but is that the majority? I mean, I would hope not. So it's a similar situation. Like I choose to focus more on like love and community and
Yeah.
spreading joy. I
Right.
think it's a better use of our time, because there's always negativity out there, but it's how you handle
Yeah.
those situations and what you choose to bring into your
Right.
life. Yeah.
Right. So, well, I know you wouldn't tell me who you are voting for, but do you
Yeah,
think the black?
rather not.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to put you in that trouble. Uh, do you think the blacks have a unified voice in terms of uh, demanding some attention from those that want their votes?
Are you talking about
The US
Kamala?
election.
Yeah. Are you talking about the candidates in specific or in just in general sense of things?
In
Because
general sense, whoever the candidate is, I mean, yeah, I wanted to ask you that question, but it might not be ideal. But
yeah, I mean she's not running like that's she's running as a Democrat primarily. I haven't gotten any message that she's running as a black slash Asian nominee, if that makes sense. With
yeah,
Obama's messaging was very clear, first black president. She's running more of she's a as a Democrat, right? So it's a different messaging. But that being said, I would say most of the people that I know that are black are supportive of her. So I don't know if that helps answer your question in a roundabout way. Yeah,
anyway,
but I mean, with her, it's not, I don't think it's just a black thing. Of course, she's had a lot of pull from the LGBT community, LGBTQ plus community as well.
mm,
So it's not necessarily just a black thing with her. I think, and she's gotten a lot of recognition from a lot of minority organizations of different minority sects as well.
mm. Do
Yeah.
you think this is the most consequential US election?
Man, every election has been the most consequential.
Consequence.
It's been that way since Obama. Every election has been that way. Yeah. So as far as I can remember anyway. So it's
Right.
always an election of a lifetime. I mean,
Yeah.
and it applies in every situation. Yeah.
Well, we'll be praying for the US. We need the US to retain um, the position as the peacemaker in the world. We need the US the US voice to be louder in the world. And we need that continued presence in the geopolitics, and we need also African participation in the sphere of things. So we have you in our prayers.
Be careful what you wish for, but thank you.
Well, please talk to our talk to our young people who are needing direction, people who want to go into technology, or people who are already in technology wants to who want to use their skills to build products for organizations or for themselves, whatever the case may be. You had a wonderful career as a technology builder. So how do you start? How do you make your career, directional?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Um, I would say like the number one thing will really be believing in yourself because nobody else is going to believe in you, right? Whether you're looking for a job, you have to sell yourself. Anything that you do, really, whether you're an entrepreneur or you're working with corporate, whatever the case may be, you are selling yourself first, right? So you have to believe in yourself and make sure that you have clarity in your purpose, right? So you know what you're doing, you're clear about what you want to do. And sometimes you might have to fake it till you make it, you know? And sometimes it's really just making sure that you are ready to put in the work, right? It's not an easy journey. Like when I transitioned from QA to products, I learned a lot of those things by myself. Thank God, the courses online. You don't necessarily have to go back to school to do it. You can self-paced it on your own, but I made sure that I kept learning. And one thing that I used to do, well, I still do, is every 6 months I do a retro. You just seeing, what went well, what didn't go well, what needs improvement. I do that with my work and I do that with my personal skills, right? So because I used to open myself up to different opportunities, right? I'll say, okay, so I'm doing this right now, and I'm not very skilled in, for example, remember like when I did the UX bootcamp, that was what led me to do the user experience bootcamp, right? To learn how to design apps from scratch and taking the user experience into consideration and broader the customer experience. And just taking that course opened so many doors for me. It also opened a door where I could be of use to you with SFAN at that time as well.
Yeah.
So it's just really being open to opportunities. I mean, can it be yourself, right? So I knew what direction I wanted to go. For me, I wanted to get better at being a product manager and building products by myself outside of my regular 9 to 5. And I just had to figure out what tools do I need in my toolbox to be able to do this effectively. And that's what I did, find courses by yourself. If your company pays for those courses as self-development, because it's all aligned with the work, then great, have them pay for it for you, but just invest in yourself, believe in yourself, and take it a day at a time. Yeah.
Are there some career or maybe life lessons that you've learned along the way from failure that you want to share?
Oh, wow. Well, there's so many.
Mhm.
Um, so I think being in products and tech in general, we're forced to do like this periodical reviews
Yeah.
of how things went. Like it was every 2 weeks actually, because we did the Scrum methodology, but that's a different conversation. But just going through with the team and seeing this things work great. So we make note of it, keep it in our back pocket. These things were a disaster, right? These were the failures. So when you do things like that, right, you're not focusing on just the failures, you're focusing on the good and the bad, and then you're building on it. So these things failed, but how could we do better? Next time, what caused those things to fail? How do we prevent these things from failing again in the future? And I think that applies so much in entrepreneurship, right? Because it's actually helped me fine tune my niche, because, I started with, okay, I have this idea. This is what I want to do. I did my research. I had my first client. I went through the process with them. It helped that, I know them, they're acquaintances, they're friends of mine, actually. So it was having that feedback helped me hone the business more and,
Yeah.
tightened up some things. Now I'm working with a group. I have a better idea what it's like to work with a group in that official capacity. And I'm taking notes of this works for groups. This doesn't really work well for groups. So yes, they're failures. You can look at them at that. I look at them as learning opportunities, right? So you use them as stepping stones to learn, to grow, and make sure you don't repeat those mistakes again. And yeah, I think that's a good cycle, right? So you fail forward in a manner of speaking. So you're like,
Right.
you're failing, but you're learning and you're moving on from it.
Yeah. That's impressive. Final thoughts?
Final thoughts. I guess, just generally just keep, believing in yourself, keep holding yourself accountable, figure out a reason why you're going to get up every day to keep fighting the good fight, right? And keep that at the back of your head. Because otherwise it's easy to just lose hope, lose the faith. You obviously gonna have a lot of naysayers. And I've been blessed to have a lot of people in my corner supporting me. So that's been great. That's been very helpful. But it's just taking it day at a time and moving forward and keep up the good fight. And just having people in your corner goes a long way, especially people that have walked the walk, right? Or they're walking the walk with you. So you're in the same boat. You have people to bounce ideas off and to encourage each other. I think it's been important for me to have, those kind of people in my corner saying, I'm going through this as well. It's not just you, keep it up. And, tomorrow might be my turn to motivate somebody else and so on. So yeah, having community, believing in yourself and holding yourself accountable goes a long
Yeah.
way.
So now let me ask you my own personal question, which is marriage. How, for millennials that are getting married, what do you have as an advice for them? People in business getting married and
Yeah.
still maintaining their careers.
That's a tough one. I mean, it's day by day. I wish I had a blueprint for for marriage, but I don't, right? I think that with everything, it's just important to have that communication between partners, right? To be open and honest with your communication. It's not always glamorous, it's not always great, it's not always what you want to hear, but having that communication and understanding and holding your partner's wants and needs close to you is important as well, right? So you're communicating and you're also learning about each other, you're also growing, and you're also prioritizing your relationship. So I think that's really important in everything, because you definitely need the support of the people around you to do well in life, especially when you're doing this. It's really tough to not have that support. So it's really important to make sure that you're communicating well and, having their interest in mind.
How do you communicate well?
Oh, wow. Um, whew. It's both like verbal and nonverbal, right?
Yeah.
It's understanding. I'm still learning. I'm not an expert, right? I've learned that is a lot of things that are said and a lot more things that are unsaid, right? It's understanding underlying pressures, is understanding like these are your partner's needs and desires and figuring out how to balance that. I think that everything in life is a balancing act, right? So it's not out the gate, it's not always golden, right? You have to work at it. And I did this because I could set my time. For example, with the travel, when I was working, I used to work, I mean, sometimes 12, 14-hour days. And it was a lot, it was really a lot. And now I don't have a steady paycheck, but I have the time for my family and to do this work. And I think that a lot of the front loading work that I've done was, to build that foundation and to figure out what works for me, right? And that's why I'm spending time building out the systems so that it can keep going like a well-oiled machine, and I can spend time balancing the time I'm not working with my family, with family life, have that balance going. I'm still learning, still trying to find the right balance there. But at least now I know that I can dictate my time and it's on my terms, right? So, yeah. And just being vulnerable, right, with your partner goes a long way, right? Hopefully you married an empathetic person or you're with an empathetic partner that will not take will not take it and make a mockery of it, or or belittle you, or whatever the case may be. Like someone that's supportive, right? It really takes two. Yeah.
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 That's useful. Communication is always the heavy one, because you said it's both verbal and non-verbal. So yeah, that's absolutely true.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just like with any friendship, and just understanding people's characters and what makes them tick. So it's learning more about your partner, and you know, sometimes we learn new things every day, but same thing with the retro thing, is going back and seeing what's worked and what hasn't worked, and where things are lacking, because life gets busy and time passes quickly. So you just have to figure out, what's the best way for us to be together, like join together on, common goals for the family, and everything else just works, just falls in line with that.
Mm. You are a wise woman.
We learn every day, Tom Chris, but thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your time, Gloria. I appreciate you.
Much. Yeah, I'm glad I'm a part of this, and I'm rooting for you. You're doing great.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hopefully we're celebrating at the end of this for you, and
Yes.
congratulations
Yeah.
for
We will
crushing
do.
it. Yeah,
Thank you so much.
sure thing. Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you. Bye bye for now.
All right. Bye.
All right. We are transitioning to Chisom. Is she there? I saw her joining before. In the waiting room. Seems it's from my side. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? And can
Hi,
you? Hi.
I can. How are you?
I'm
Look
doing.
at you. You look great.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
What time is it now?
So the time did go back to normal. So it's the same as you are in Ghana.
You
That's
guys
nice.
used to have the daylight thing, eh?
Yeah.
Wow. What is that about? Explain it to me.
Interesting. I really haven't looked it up, but I just know that the clock has to just go back because previously it was mostly very bright, but at the moment it's beginning to get very, very dark. That's how
Wow.
I can really explain it, but I haven't looked it up to see what really it is.
So I suppose it's 8:54 now.
Yeah.
Interesting. How's it going? How's UK treating you?
Fantastic. By the way, we are live, right?
Yeah, we're live.
Okay. I just wanted to double check that.
We're live. Um, your accent has also been Eucanized.
I'm not too sure about that.
Yeah, you sure about that? I can't
How are
even
you
fake it.
feeling? How are you feeling? It's 35 hours. How are you feeling?
It is. It is. 35 hours and change. I feel great, you know, comparative to what I thought I would be feeling like today. Yesterday was so tough. Yesterday I felt so bad
Hmm.
because my legs were shaking, my
Oh
eyes were
God.
turning, my head was turning.
Oh my
Like
God.
I was praying heavy prayers and I was like, God, please, I have to do this thing.
And you haven't
Um,
slept at all, right?
well, I had power night nap. I think it was 30 minutes, 20 minutes,
Okay.
20 minutes.
That's not too bad.
So not too bad, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm glad to be doing it. I had a beautiful session with Amy, and she was so amazing. She did some
Oh,
meditation and mindfulness thing, and
wow.
I was so refreshed. Yeah,
Oh, that's great.
yeah. Okay,
Great.
you want to kick off?
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay, please introduce yourself to the audience.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Chisom Emewulu, and I'm a human resources practitioner here in the UK. And I would say that I've been in the field for almost 3 years plus. So more like a mix of marine, oil and gas, and currently social care. But prior to that, I used to do also HR for the hospitality industry. Um, Pretty much just HR, and then I also work around youth activities, so youth developmental activities, and I run an NGO to empower young people in my home country, Nigeria.
Mm. Only you, youth activity, NGO, marine, oil and gas. What again?
No, I was talking about the culmination of my career experience up till date.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me something. I saw you one eye in Ghana. The next thing I know, you're already in the UK. How did that happen?
It's been a long time we met, so it didn't just
Yeah,
happen like magic. So
but it wasn't so long either.
really,
Yeah.
okay, if you say so.
When did you travel?
So I moved here just last year, January.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, January. Okay, so you are just about a year and some change.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I'm almost 2 years. So I would say I'm closer to
Almost
two
years.
years. Yeah.
You did your master's there, right?
Mm-hmm.
How was it? How was the experience?
It was a fantastic experience studying at the University of Dundee because um it went so fast, and I also
Yeah,
like the mix of learning experiences and
right.
various faculty members bringing various ways of teaching and loads of
Mm,
research. So I would say to a reasonable extent, my research skills has been really improved, and then my ability to just match that up with what's happening in the industry. So I would say overall, it's a fantastic experience.
right.
Yep.
Was that what you went for, or it was, you wanted to do the course and settle, or you went exclusively for the course and incidentally got a job?
Um, for me, it would be that I did want to have a master's in HR and with more focus on international business. So after
Right,
doing that, I had gotten like other jobs, but not specifically in HR. So more reason why I just pivoted to this particular role now at the moment. But for me, from the start, it was just to jump on my master's and then gravitate into working in the HR space.
right.
Yeah.
That's impressive. So you are, sort of entering your dream field, I suppose.
Yeah.
Do you still do your exercise? You used to do a lot of exercise then.
Times have changed, but I would say
Okay.
I'm trying to balance both sides. At least I
What's
try to
changed?
go in, priorities and just activities, just trying to catch up. Sometimes you
Right,
just lose the ball. So I still
right.
try to go in once in a while.
Tell us about it.
Um, I say I go like 2 to 3 times. If I go 4 times, it's a very good week. If I go to the gym 4 times, and on days that I can't go to the gym, I just go like for a jog or walk. Yeah.
Okay. So what is it that women get wrong about exercise? Because some women don't like to exercise. They say they'll get buff. Um, what's the misconception there?
If they give birth, is that what you mean?
They will get buff, like they'll get
Oh, they'll get buff.
buff.
Oh, that
Yeah.
word. Oh, that Ghanaian word.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are various kinds of workouts and there are various techniques that would that would improve your ability to get buff. So if you're, for instance, because you cannot just automatically just get buff, it needs to be a couple of exercises that you need to partake in to
No,
get more.
no, actually, the person I'm talking about doesn't want to exercise because she doesn't want to get her body tough.
Hmm.
So she wants to be delicate.
I
Yeah, so that's why I'm asking, where is the misconception?
don't know what she's being or who she's talking to or the mainstream
Okay.
media that she's watching, but
Right,
the gym would not just make you buff, right? So you could
right,
go to the gym to improve your endurance, you could go to the gym to get fit, get toned, and not particularly get buff. And there are a couple of exercises or specific exercises that would increase your muscular capacity. So not all exercises will make you get buff.
right.
Yeah.
Why do you exercise?
Why do I exercise?
Yeah.
I think just having the ability to get myself in one piece, look very
Mm,
smart and look smart in clothes.
right,
I know
right.
people would think that's not a good reason, but for me, it's just ensuring that I keep my mental well-being up.
Yeah,
Also, just being able to move, and I really enjoy working out. So for me, it's
yeah,
a time frame where I can listen to music and I can still work out. So I get to do like
yeah,
two activities at a go rather than just being at home or doing something else. But this time around, I get to do what I love to do and then still work out. So for me, it's a good deal.
yeah, I know. Um, it it's like an outlet, where you have a conversation with yourself without talking to yourself. Is that like how you feel? Therapy, sort of?
It depends. There are some workouts that would just knock me out, and I cannot do anything else but to just focus on doing it. But on
You
some days,
box?
not boxing per se. It might be like high intensity training. It might be
Okay.
perhaps just running and then pacing myself. So it all
Right.
depends. I would say that just pushing myself makes a difference for me.
Right. Right. Okay. That absolutely makes sense. I mean, anyone that exercises and does it as a habit enjoys it. Otherwise, there wouldn't be much incentive to do it, because it's pain sometimes. Um, you are tearing your muscle, you are stretching yourself, and sometimes you don't even feel like doing it in the morning. Um, but it's also a way of building discipline, I think, right?
Yeah,
Especially if it's, yeah, a habit.
yeah.
So let
True.
me ask another crazy question. Oh, this is the crazy question, the first crazy question. Do you think men like women that have the shapes?
Pardon me?
Yeah, because some women go to the gym just to train those shapes that men like. Do you
I don't know
think
what shapes men like. I don't know. Except you want to tell me, but I don't know what shapes men like.
the one that make you look good in clothes?
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
Ah, that's so funny. Yeah? Okay. Okay. Um, maybe my theory. Huh? So, why did you open a foundation in Nigeria?
Um, Good question. I would say the main reason why I did open a foundation was because, of course, there's a gap. And
Hmm.
there's a gap between first world, second world, third world countries. And when, or just having lived in various countries, you would see that in your own capacity on the previous place that you used to live in, they really are not seeing the light. Like they are not catching up to how the world is evolving. So that was the main reason why I did set up the foundation. Number one, because I used to live in Ajegunle. I did grow up in
Hmm.
Ajegunle actually. And I see that in a way, there's not much funding going in there relating to training activities, relating to job creation, relating to entrepreneurial support. So I did set up the NGO to provide support to youths in that capacity. So as part of the work we do is that we help people set up their CVs, mock interview session, training sessions, and then going forward, I want to focus more on high school because I think to a reasonable extent we'll get the people earlier on in life and then train them up to support their careers. Because growing up, there wasn't much of mentors or representation for people to see that it was possible. So I think just supporting youths in that regard to see that, oh, I did grow up in this environment and I was able to make out something for myself. So you too can.
Hmm. Who finances then?
At the moment, it's being financed by myself, but
You have a lot of money.
amen. Amen. But I think I just want to have and build capacity and build leverage why I also spread my tentacles because of course I don't think anyone would want to support you if you don't have something going on, at least to show that this is what you've done and this is what you are capable of doing. That's what I think. But going forward from next year, I intend to expand and see how I can take it up from there.
I think you are the second young person that I've met that has, well, I've met recently that has a foundation. You know, foundations used to be like established by the big women and the big men that have made a lot of money, and now they want to either give back, build corporate image, or you know, um, build a business model. So, which one is it for you?
Interesting. I think I am really just branching out
Right.
my career, but I think because I work in HR, I work in talent development, I work in skill and reskilling, and I see the gaps, like people, perhaps first generation immigrants, or people that really do not have career people, or even people that are entrepreneurial in their families. So for me, it's just contributing and being a positive influence in society. So I have no ulterior motive to say that maybe I want to benefit XYZ. I do not want to benefit. I just want to share my skill of leadership, my skill of executing, my skill of strategic planning, the step-by-step process to help people visualize how things can go from 0 to 100. So, which is where my skill lies, empowering people. I think empowering sometimes can be misused, but just pushing people to see that you can grow from nothing to something with the right skills, with the right tools, with the right resources. You can make something out of it for yourself. So, for instance, I've coached people just having a chit chat with them, and they've gotten like high paying jobs. And even people who just writing their essays or reviewing their essays, you know, saying to them that this is what you should do, this is what you shouldn't do, clean this up, tidy this up, and do this and do this. And they've done very well for themselves. They've improved their research skills, they've improved their ability to think critically. So all those tidbits, just those little things that people do not see as important. So I see them, I talk about them, and I help them express themselves in a more advanced way and in a more standardized fashion.
That's nice. Would you want to use that instrument to get any form of concession in your career?
Concession in what do you mean? In what stance?
Yesterday I was interviewing somebody. Was it yesterday or the day before? She also has a foundation, and I was like, I just learned from a friend. You are familiar with black tax, right? African tax. Yeah. So this gentleman, he was like, the best way to manage black tax is to set up a foundation so that those funding are harmonized, and you can always, make any deductibles from however you're filing your tax and things like that. Would you want to maybe potentially structure your foundation in such a way that it allows you to manage processes like that? Did you think about that, or is just something you set up for passion of helping and serving communities?
So black tax for me, it's a very complex issue. And like I said earlier on, I'm always of the opinion that people should make out things for themselves. Build something for yourself. I know everyone does not get that heads up that there's no leveling ground, right? People are at different phases. So I'm of the opinion that make out something for yourself. I can take you to the stream, but I will not take you to the stream and then catch the fish for you and put it into your mouth. So
will you pay? I mean, do you pay?
do I
Do
pay?
you
What do you mean?
do you give? Do you give? Like when your family members and things, extended family come with those requests, do you just tell them to leave you alone,
That's an interesting question. Anyway,
or something will happen? If you
that's an
call my
interesting
number
question.
tomorrow, something will happen.
That's an interesting question. Anyway, I cannot disclose that here in public, but I'm just going to say that for anyone that's trying to navigate through black tax, you should have your boundaries, what you can share and what you cannot share. So it's just based on personal preference.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And it's a huge topic for young people, young working professionals that don't live in their home countries of African descent. So yeah. Moving on to the next topic. She doesn't want me to put her in trouble. uh, so do you live alone or you have a roommate?
Interesting. You want me to answer that question on national TV? Oh my God.
Hey, it's not a national TV, it's a S-Fan TV.
I cannot disclose that. It's personal.
Right. So when was the last time you were in Nigeria?
I've never been since I moved here.
Hmm?
I've never been since I moved here.
All right. Do you plan to come back again?
I don't know. I don't know yet.
Hmm. Well, you have your foundations, so you have an extension of yourself and your
Exactly.
services. Yeah,
Exactly. That's my extension.
right. I hope you don't forget your Nigerian roots. As you build your foundation, you should also build your presence.
I'll try.
Yeah. Okay, so you know, lots of young people who are like they feel bad because they left, the environment to seek for greener pasture. Or rather, not they feel bad, but the way it's discussed makes it feel like sometimes a bad option. What are your thoughts in that direction? Like this conversation around Jackpot and things.
Um, so jackpot didn't just that word. So it didn't just start today, right? So people have been migrating for ages and people will still continue to migrate. But I think there has been like a large influx of people moving abroad recently. Personally, I would say that if the country that you live in is not able to propel you to greater things, you should move. But if you do live in your country and you think that you want to be like a change maker, then you should go for it. It's just all about preference. The country will always be there, right? So you can decide to move and then come back after a couple of years. You can decide to move just for the sake of family. So it all depends on preference. For me, it wasn't Japa. It was just for me to develop myself, to get like a master's degree and then international business, which I think to a reasonable extent is going to be so helpful for me as I continue to grow in my career. So my first choice wasn't to move for Japa.
Yeah, I hear you. Would you at any point encourage, someone in the diaspora to invest back home? If someone comes to seek advice from you on how on investing back home, would that be something you encourage them to do?
I'm not an economic specialist, but I know that I don't know what back home means for people. If back home means for you Africa or America or Nigeria or wherever it is, but you just need to check economically how beneficial it will be for you to invest. That's all I can say.
Right. That's a good advice, actually. That's a good advice, because sometimes some people feel compelled to invest, or feel like, everyone should invest. I was talking with one of the speakers the other day, and she was like, "No, it's not in my diary." And yeah, her reasoning makes sense to me. Um, yeah, it's individual preferences and what people want to do with their money, and you don't want to give advice that might not be reflective of where your skills are. Yeah, totally got it. So, do you have young people reaching out to you for mentorship and advice from here, from Africa?
Um, so recently, like I've been getting people just chat me on LinkedIn, like to ask questions. Perhaps they have been nominated for like a promotion. Should they take it, or should they move to a different country? So it's been different for different things. But for direct mentorship, I would say like one or two, and it has not been long term. So it's just more like a short term basis. Perhaps they have something that they are working towards on, and I just guide them to go to this site or do this or do that, just basic stuff. Hopefully next year I can accommodate more people, but at the moment I am not really taking mentors. So if people ask me questions or they want feedback about something or my advice, I can provide advice when I
What
can.
advice? What advice do you usually provide?
Um, for instance, people reach out to me for scholarships and I speak to
Okay.
them to know
Okay.
exactly what they are looking out for in the long term, and not just
Mm.
because, oh, you've seen a scholarship and you want to apply. Like, why exactly do you want to apply? And think deeply what you want to contribute to the person that's giving you that funding. So if you do not have solid reasons to why you should be funded, then you're just wasting your time. Don't bother. Do something else, or take a gap year and use that gap year to think about what you want to do, and then you can apply for the scholarship next year. So, for instance, people also reach out to me to invest in their business. I'm almost getting there. I'm not there yet. So they bring a business plan to say, or to chat me to say, how should I go about this? Can you invest like a particular amount of money? And how can you support us? And when I look at the business proposal and I'm like, no, I'm not going to sink my money in here. Perhaps try later, or you need to work on this, you need to work on that. This is not feasible for me to put my investment. I would not tell them that advice. It's just going to be how I would respond to someone sharing their dream, but not articulating it the way that I think it should work. But I would say on both sides. So as a career guide and as a business critique.
Okay. So, for those who come to you for career guidance, first of all, let me ask you, for someone who wants to secure a scholarship, what are the processes then?
There's no one-way approach to secure a scholarship.
Okay. What would you advise?
The interesting part is that people that have guided to apply have gotten scholarships. Why, meanwhile, most of the time that I have applied before moving to the UK, I've always gotten to the stage before, like this
Welcome to
last
the
stage
welcome
before
to the
you,
club.
the last stage before you get the scholarship. And I'm like, oh my God, I tell people to do stuff and they get it. What happens to me? Anyway, it's just pretty simple. It just depends on what the scholarship demands, and then you tilt all of your thought processes that have been filtered, and then you respond to the questions. And think about it, you have like almost thousands of people that are applying and vying for the same application you're trying to make. So it needs to really stand
I
out.
guess my apologies. Let me ask a better question. Are there scholarship options that you know of?
But sorry, are these questions coming in from people, or you are just cooking the questions?
Some are from people, most are from me.
Okay. Okay, that's fine.
Okay. Are
You
there
go for the
scholarship
question
options that
again.
you know of?
There's Chevening, there is MasterCard. There are also scholarships that are US based. There's also CSC. I think that's a Chinese scholarship. There are multiple scholarships. You just need, okay, this particular man that posts scholarship on Facebook, I think it's called Cosmos Network. So you can just find them on Facebook and he posts frequently.
Okay. So, yeah, the process, you say they should.
What process? You mean the scholarship application?
Mm-hmm.
It starts with reading.
Right.
So you should read through all of the materials that's been put together, digest
Right.
it. If it means that you have to keep rereading and rereading for you to really understand all of the requirements, then once you have read all of the documents, then you can take action. But before taking action, you also need to know where exactly you want the research or whatever questions where it should go. So you need to know the timeline. So if, for instance, you have 3 weeks to tender your application, the first week should be the stage whereby you brainstorm. It should also be whereby you look up the questions, you begin to build a structure that you would use to respond to the questions. And then even after preparing all of these documents, you want to make out time to cross your T's and dot your I's. And then you still need to let a second eye have a look at it for you. It's so important, very important that you have a second eye look at your work for you. Don't give it to a second eye that will go and copy your essay.
Is that possible?
Some people actually, you never can tell anything is possible in this world. That's life.
Mm.
So
Got it. Got it.
so after doing that, then of course pray. And if it's your turn, God can show you mercy.
Mm. You know, you were talking about the scholarship thing that you've advised people and guided them and they won scholarships, but you weren't able to make yours. You know, do you know about Yali?
Yeah, I think, yes. Is that Young
Yeah.
African something initiative? Young African Leaders
Mhm.
Initiative. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can, like, I have several young people that I have guided, through Yali, and some of them my students, some of them, individuals that ask questions and I guide them and they make it and they go to Yali. But I never won Yali, you know. I never got through. They kept taking my question and answers and sending me, unfortunately, until I got tired of sending answers to the questions. And I think now I can't even apply anymore because my age is no longer what you call a youth, according to the definition of the yearly program. Yeah, so sometimes it happens, you know, your students would, use your advice and secure. Yeah. So don't feel bad about it.
Oh no.
Maybe, yeah.
But definitely somehow, someday.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow,
You want to
someday.
collect more degrees.
Scholarships. There are scholarships, there are fellowships, there are
Mm.
grants, so it's very broad when it comes to funding. It doesn't really have to be scholarship per se. So it might be, who knows, maybe S-Fan might just grant me 10 million pounds.
Well, I'm actually, no, I shouldn't announce it here. Yeah, but yep, yep. So they come to you, they ask you to give investment advice and career advice. So assuming some young person comes to you to seek for career advice on how to, make their career progressive, what do you tell them?
That's a very interesting question. So Naturally, I would say that for a young person that comes to me to get like career advice, I would first ask the person to take like an introspective look at what they want to do in the next 2 years, in the next 3 years, and in the next 5 years. It's so important. Even before like I have a chat with you, I would like to see like a write-up. I know, but I think that when people pen down their thoughts and not just, keep flying words all over the place, it's very different. So if you do sit down and write out what you want to do in the next 2 years and the next 3 years and the next 5 years. So the questions are very simple, right? So what would success mean for you in this couple of years? Second would be that what do you think that you have to do to help you achieve those goals across 2 years, 3 years, and 5 years? And the third step would be that if you do not do or take those steps within 2, 3, 5 years, what will be the outcome of your life? So if one is able to pen that down, you would see loads of answers and you might not actually still need me any longer. But even after writing that down, I'll still have a conversation with the person. Because one thing is to take an introspective look at what you want to do with yourself. Another thing is, what does the market need? Because there's also the gap between yourself and also what the labor market needs. But in general, I would advise that for anyone that's trying to develop their career, is to first take that introspective look. What do you like? What industry do you want to work in? What legacy do you want to leave behind? And if you're someone that's driven by finance, go for it. Go for high impact careers. If you're someone that's value driven, go for industries where you feel like you make the most of impact. If you're someone that's policy driven, also look out for opportunities that present for you to showcase your policy skills. If you're someone that's into sports, like myself, that used to be previously into sports, look out for plans, look out for boot camps, look out for opportunities that would market you more into the sporting industry. All in all is that you need to identify what's in you first and then work on it, and then you can unleash it. So while doing all of those things, while you're trying to think about your career, you're trying to be the best of yourself, you also need to be in consultation with your chi, which is your God.
That's interesting. What sport were you playing before?
Ooh. I have been working out almost all of my life until I moved here. So in secondary school, I used to do long distance running, and then I played soccer, and university, I played table tennis, and then I ran a bit. I played volleyball, and after university, I did run for NYC, and I won gold medal, 400
You
meters.
ran,
Yes.
really?
Yeah, and at the moment, I am not actively playing any sport. I just go to the gym once in a while. Yeah.
Okay. Would you want to pick up any of those sports again?
I would like to pick up volleyball, but because I enjoy indoor volleyball, or rather not, I like a mix, but I would like to play somewhere sunny. And here in the UK, is mostly, or rather this side of Scotland where I live, it's mostly raining or gloomy. We don't get loads of sun here, so it's just not fun playing outside. And of course, it's very cold. So it's either I play indoor. So maybe later on, I'll just pick up playing volleyball again.
Playing with your son or your daughter? The way she smiled. The way she smiled. That's it. It seems that's on the horizon. Is that on the horizon?
I don't know. I don't know if the if your national TV should know if I'm interested in procreating.
Oh well,
Oh my God.
it's the natural order of life, or no?
It's not compulsory in the national order of life. I think it's
Yeah,
just like
not compulsory, but it's what humans do. So,
are you also
hmm,
ready to procreate?
am I ready to procreate?
Yeah.
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. But eventually.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, business investment advice. Um, have you ever given anybody who reached out to you on that any advice that helped them?
Like I said earlier on, like I'm a critic, right? So
Mm,
I come from the lens of research. I come from the lens of if the business plan has been targeted to the right customers. And I also come from the lens of ROI. So if someone invests 5 million or 10 million, what's the number of years that it will take to get that back and at what rates? Because of course, no one wants to keep their money in a place where there's no certainty that there will be cash inflow, right? To retrieve back the money that's been invested over time. So I would say that I come from that angle, more like a critique. So if you're looking out for VCs, if you're looking out for economists, I would recommend, oh my God, my favorite person on Twitter.
no, I'm not looking for I'm curious to understand the kind of advice you've given to people who asked you and if and whether it's been helpful to them, like your career advice, because I know you are a career person, particularly in the HR side of the world. But it seems also you're dabbling in business management or business development.
Okay. So I'll just go back to what I was saying previously. So Dr. Ola Brown, she's on Twitter, follow her. Anyway,
Uh,
so like I did say, I'm more of like a critique. So for instance, a friend of mine did come up to me to say that he wants to set up a bakery. And I looked at the business plan, it wasn't convincing. And I know what a business plan should look like. My bachelor's degree was in business. And then I've also ventured into business myself for
mm,
2 years because I also was into fitness sales of equipment, of sporting equipment. And I
mm,
did reasonably well in it, but I wasn't ready financially to launch deep into the business, which I will do later on in my life. But after looking at the business proposal, like I saw the holes, the gaps that needed to be filled before launching. So for me, it's more from the critique side. And of course, managing the business ensures that it flows through. So when you talk about marketing, when you talk about sales, when you talk about digital transformation, ensuring that all of those activities and tasks that you do manually, transfer them online to ensure efficiency. So this is the kind of input that I can bring. So more of ensuring that the business is it's working how it's expected to run, longevity of the business, and of course, ensuring that there are high profit margins. So more from an overall management and not just from the side of operational aspect, if you get what I mean.
okay.
Yeah.
All righty. What else do you do for fun outside of exercise?
I like to read. I like to read biopics. I like to watch movies. And then I like to go to the gym when I can.
Yeah. Who are your favorite authors?
Ooh. My top one will be John Grisham. So he writes books around law.
Mm,
And then I like Chimamanda Adichie
mm,
and a couple of others, but I'll just stick with that. And then I like Ngugi wa Thiong'o. It's quite a difficult word for me to pronounce, but I think it's South African.
Amanda said something that I thought about it. If I ever get to meet her, I'll ask her that question. And you used that word a moment ago. When I think she was trying to explain what her name means to somebody, and she was like, Shimamanda means my personal spirit will not fail. Do you think that's the meaning of that word?
I don't recall she saying that word in particular, but if I can explain from my very now extinct knowledge of Igbo, God help me. Chimamanda. Chi can be seen in different contexts, but Chi is God, means that my God will not fall. In
She
that
says it's
particular context.
my personal spirit will not fail.
People have different interpretations, and I think people should have the opportunity to express the meaning of their names the way they want and in the circumstance that they were given the name. Of course, that's not her first name. So she created that particular name. So if she wants it to mean that, then that's fine. But from my understanding of it is that Chi means God, right? So my God, and in Igbo mythology, there's also the concept of Chi being spiritual. So if she wants it,
Yeah, if I ever get to meet her, I'll ask her how come she derived that particular translation for her name. But of course, I have some of her books actually. I have Purple Hibiscus. I have Americana. I have two of her books. I haven't read them, but I do have them.
for decor, that's fine.
Well, not necessarily. Yeah, but there's an argument for buying more books than you can ever read because you surround yourself with those voices and sometimes people buy books sometimes not because they can never read all of them. Yeah. Sometimes when you look at the books, it does something to you, you know. But yeah, I'll read them eventually.
Okay. Good luck with that.
I know. But I'll get to read them. So what opportunities are you open to in case people have something that I know you like speaking, you like HR? What other opportunities are you open to in case people have things that might potentially use your skill?
At the moment, I am focusing on how artificial intelligence, how it influences HR processes. So for instance, with hiring, with performance assessment, and also with the human element of work. So for anyone that needs advice concerning how to integrate artificial intelligence into their HR processes, you can speak to me. Then also for anyone needing like guidance with careers, with reskilling, just to match the skills that are needed in the 21st century, you can speak to me. And if you want some consulting concerning your business, if you want to launch, if you need strategies, I can do the research for you. I can walk you through the process diligently. And I can ensure that you do achieve what you're looking out for. So whatever country you want to set up, I can do the research and I can provide you with factual information.
That's great. I didn't know you are. So, in terms of AI in human resource, are you looking to advise or create? What role might be your proficiency in that direction? Is it advice against biases, advice how to get maximize outcome or create the process? Where are you squared in that direction?
Thank you. That's a very interesting question. So for me, I'm at the early stages of just venturing into artificial intelligence. But one thing that's 2 seconds. So one thing that's important for me is that I've seen like the data, and although like artificial intelligence has been spoken about, but I think nothing much is being done concerning bias. There's less research about fairness and also the human element of work. Because for instance, like I've read like articles where data was being passed across applicant tracking systems, and guess what? There were some CVs that were rejected just because some CV that came in through the applicant tracking system were women. So that meant that there was like a default in the artificial programming. So either the developer didn't pay much attention, or the HR consultant at that point didn't really pay attention to what was being developed. So meaning that, of course, it brings room for bias, which needs to be tackled. And aside that, what is the government doing about it? What regulations are being put into place? I don't know how this reflects back home in our country, Nigeria. I haven't really looked at the data for that. But what interests me is that organizations are losing out on suitable candidates, number one. And from the employee side or from the job seeker side, what's their reaction? And how do they feel just getting the unfortunately and the unfortunately, even when they are qualified to do the job? So at this stage, I'm not at the creator stage, but I'm at the advisory stage.
Okay, got it. Would you, at some point, learn the implementation side of things?
So like I said earlier, I'm still at the early stages. So I just want to give myself like 5 years, see what I can do concerning the advisory aspect, like developing it like a framework. So what this framework will do will serve as a guide. So for instance, if I can look at data from here in the UK, across Europe and the US, because most of these countries are more peculiar with dealing with artificial intelligence systems, right? So if I can look at the data, gather more information about what's been done, that would really propel me if to go into design implementation. But first, I want to develop a framework and of course, test run it, of course, with focus groups to see how I can be able to move it from the first stage, which is the initial stage of me just gathering data, and then putting together all that has been gathered, and then translate that into a framework. So after even developing the framework, I still need to test it to see how it can be integrated into the workplace. So let's see how that goes within a period of 5 years. And if that pulls through, that will determine if I'll move into the design implementation stage or if I still would want to prefer consulting.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah, I mean, there are so many gaps in AI. You don't actually need to be tech proficient to work in the space. You can work in data, gathering the data. You can work in providing insight, the human aspects of design. You can be a tester. There are so many things you can do. So yeah, take your time. Hello.
Yep. I can hear
Are
you.
you still with me?
Yeah,
Okay,
I can hear you.
wonderful. We are
How
coming
how
to
are you
the
faring?
I'm trying to conserve my energy because it's getting to day 2 proper. Can't even imagine that it's only day 2. Lord mercy. But it's all good. We will get there step by step, day by day.
Absolutely.
Hmm. So we have 11 minutes left. What would you like me to ask you of?
I don't know. Perhaps you can, if there are viewers, you can ask them. Or I could just check on YouTube to see if there are viewers at this point and
Let me check on YouTube
questions.
and see. Let's see if they have a question for you, question for you in YouTube. Ten people watching. We have more viewers on this. My wife. Are you the one? Somebody's commenting my wife.
Who's wiping me on national TV? Oh my God.
Ah.
Ask a question since you want me to marry you. Don't ask me if I'm married.
You have a secret admirer, maybe. You have a secret admirer somewhere.
Any questions?
Ask Chisom question. As my people in France, my Francophone friends will say. Are you taking language lessons? Usually people take language lessons sometimes.
Who?
Some people do. Are you taking language lessons?
I'm considering it for next year. Actually, I should because I think you know how every year you almost put down a list to do. And then you keep pushing and pushing, and then you realize that oh, it's 25th of December and I haven't done nothing. So we'll go
Yeah,
again in
that's
2025.
me. I'm French. That's my story with French.
We'll go
Learning
again.
French.
We'll go again 2025.
I know. Learning French has taken over 10 years.
Bonsoir.
Hmm. That's the only thing I know.
Ça va?
Ça va bien, et vous?
Ça va. So how long did it take you to prepare for this event? Have you tried staying awake
Um,
for 4 days or 3 days?
so I never actually prepared, but
Wow.
I guess, yeah, that's the truth. I, well, no, that's not the complete truth. Yeah, because I prayed, so it's part of the preparation. Um, so what happened was I had some deadlines to meet for a client, and because this whole week will be very busy, I had to do like Superman.
As you are
And
doing now.
I know, right? I didn't actually get to sleep. So, but what I told the guy that asked me before was, I feel like I've been prepared over the years. I mean, I haven't done anything like this before, but we've created over 20 events, and I felt like that has given me some, useful frameworks of what this could be like. But yeah, I know yesterday was something else. Yesterday was something else.
Well done. You're getting there.
Yes, yes, yes.
Bravo, bravo, bravo.
Oh my goodness, I need the bravo.
So who's speaking next?
That's Leona.
Okay.
Ideally, she should have joined by now. No?
So how many years is SFan? SFan?
Esfan is 11 years plus.
Amazing. Are you allowed to eat?
Mm-hmm. Am I a spirit?
Who knows? So during your break time, you just go on
You have
to.
a question.
Okay.
What inspires you the most? And also, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Chisom, who's the one person that you would always love to mentor and make him cultivate the habit of reading?
Why do I feel like I know the person?
You do.
Oh my
Maybe it's the one that wanted to wife you.
God. Where do I see myself in the next 5 years?
Yep.
I don't know. I just want to keep grinding in the right direction.
Okay.
Success with me.
Appreciate.
Success with me.
Appreciate.
Okay.
That's
Success.
appreciate.
Okay. Success with me for me that I'm focused. I'm doing the right things at the right time.
Okay.
And with time, everything will add up.
You have love. They're
And for
sending you love.
someone that I would like for him to read, he knows himself. He
Hmm.
knows himself. Year to year, he will not read. Year to year, the
Hmm.
person knows, but God will help him.
Okay. Thank you so much. And
Thank you too. Wishing you more grace as you continue to interview.
thank you. Thank you.
All right. Can I leave now or I still need to wait for a couple of minutes?
You can if you want to.
Okay. All right. Do take care. All right, bye.
Likewise. Bye bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye bye.
Yeah, but I mean, she's learning the words. She understands the context. So that's really what I wrote it for, and that's all I can ask for right now.
Yeah, a win,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly. Exactly.
So, I would like to, go back in time. You were born in Nigeria or in the US?
Yeah, born and raised in Nigeria. I
Please,
came
somebody
to
that-
the United States for college and then I stayed